It took almost 2 years, but the chalkboard has finally been solved. For those of you who aren't as excited as I am right now, allow me to explain why you're wrong for that. Within the school just outside the city of Grevenfell, and I'm just now realising that we don't actually know what the school is called. Anyway, within these pixelated walls lies the most dastardly secret in all of Cursecrackers. The chalkboard. Confirmed to have a secret message encoded in it by Lulupa, at some point probably on an art stream? Look, I don't like to be old source, trust me bro, but like I said, this was nearly 2 years ago now, and while I am the biggest hoarder of anything and everything Colourgrave, to the point where sometimes Mim will ask me to send him stuff because he's lost it at some point, and I usually do have it, sometimes things slip through the cracks and I don't have anything like a clip or a screenshot like I usually do to assure you of what I'm claiming. But Lou did let us know that there was in fact a coded message on the chalkboard. Trust me bro. I do, however, have this, presumably also sent by Lilipar at some point, a clean view of the chalkboard unobscured by Maggie and the item on her desk, which I then used to make this nice big version. So, we had our puzzle, now we just had to solve it. We tried a few things, the first, as you might have guessed, being Morse code. I mean, there are dots and dashes, sure some dashes are longer than others, but maybe that's just obfuscation. Nope, not Morse. So then we thought maybe binary, with the blank pixels being zeros and the filled pixels being ones. Not that either. Something that did seem a little promising at first was Braille, and I say at first because, yeah, no, it wasn't that either. And then, 22 months passed, and, okay, no, there were some other attempts throughout this time. I think the Braille idea only came about within the last year or so, and pretty much any time someone joined the Discord server who took an interest in the lore, I'd be like, hey, help us solve this, and sadly always to no avail in the end. But, of course, as is always the case, the answer was money. The chalkboard discussions recently flared up again, and this time Soda Machine took it upon himself to send 30 of his hard-earned euros to a bunch of his fellow Swedes to decode the elusive message. And it took them a whopping 3 hours. And we've been sitting on this for 2 years. That's all it took. 3 hours and 30 euros. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's actually totally cool. Alright, so what does the damn chalkboard actually say? Come on, get on with it! Okay, here is the chalkboard message translated. I wanted to make Sigrid an armoured tank of a woman, but Min didn't agree, so here's something fun if you find. So obviously written by Lou, makes sense, he's the lead pixel guy. Sigrid is not from Ledamra, nor is she from Lyrian, but a certain religion hints other origin. What? Okay, alright then, okay, yeah, okay, alright, so, couple of thoughts first off the bat. First one is, huh? Second one is Sigrid Rayam? But the third one is Sigrid the power that would turn the balance from the fortune in Prodigal? I think those are the two possibilities, yeah? She's either Rayam or she's a third light-oriented creature from somewhere else. Or, well, I guess she could still be from Haven. That is the only other world we know about for now, and that's part of the reasoning behind the theory of Rayam being from there too. Oh. Wait a minute. What if Sigrid isn't Rayam, but she is from the same place as Rayam and is working for her? And that's why she's a light mage, as described in Prodigal. She's been blessed by Rayam's holy light and can control it herself to some extent. Put a pin in that. Pumping the brakes a little bit, here's something I somehow failed to mention in the video about the Dawn. The Dawn is probably talking about Rayam's arrival in Ledamra, right? Or the moment she starts taking over, or the time of her victory, or something related to her, right? How? I never brought this up before, I have no idea. Not even in the video all about Rayam herself. I don't know, man. See, this is why I ask you to comment your own thoughts every video, because there's a good chance I'll have forgotten something. But anyway, there is a problem with the idea that the Dawn has something to do with Rayam, and that's this line from Ursula. You think I'll let myself be taken by Sigrid's minions? Their day is done. The Dawn is coming. This clearly puts Sigrid at odds with the Dawn, so either Sigrid is related to Rayam or the Dawn is related to Rayam, but they can't both be true at the same time. Unless, third option, betrayal? Branching off of the idea that Rayam and Sigrid aren't the same person, rather Sigrid is working for Rayam, what if Sigrid is no longer following orders? What if she was supposed to be an advanced guard of some sort, paving the way for Rayam to make the world easier to take over, but instead found the power that she was able to secure a more comfortable hat? Perhaps Rayam somehow caught wind of this, and now the Dawn organization is her retaliation, her attempt to overthrow this usurper. This makes Sigrid's decision to ban research into teleportation, with a particular ferocity against cross-world teleportation that the Krellans were working on, make a lot of sense. She didn't want anyone to be able to leave and get word back to Rayam, although of course if this theory is correct, word did end up getting back to her anyway, somehow. Having said that, the banning of the teleportation does also make sense if she's still working for Rayam, because it would give people a way to escape, and surely Rayam wouldn't want that. So is the Dawn being called the Dawn just a misdirect? Does it actually have nothing to do with Rayam and I'm just overthinking this whole thing? I mean, possibly. It has happened before where we were so certain of something and it turned out to be completely wrong. And there are holes in the theory, like how exactly would Rayam have found out about Sigrid's betrayal? And to add to that, if that's what the Dawn is supposed to be, how did the citizens of Ladamra come to know about it? And in the first place, doesn't Rayam use these weird creatures for reconnaissance like we see in Veritas? Why would she partner with a creature that's not fully in her control? Maybe she stopped using these creatures because, as far as she knew, one had disappeared without her knowing how or why. Because remember, when the creature first arrived on Lyrian, Veritas shrouded it using his shadow powers, cutting it off from the outside world entirely, including, presumably, any connection to Rayam. Then Orin killed it before it could fully pierce the veil and alert Rayam to Lyrian. But even then, to use another person that seemingly has their own autonomy rather than something that appears to have been unwaveringly loyal, it just doesn't add up to me. So maybe my first instinct was more correct, maybe Sigrid just is Rayam, maybe she's weakened for some reason, maybe having that creature trapped in the veil had a lasting effect on her. Personally, I'd assume she had many of these creatures flung out amongst the stars in all directions at any given time, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe she only has a few, or even just that one, and her connection to it was a lot more important than initially seemed, and so now she's residing in and looking over the world of Ladamra, slowly building back her power. Actually, given that premise of Rayam being weakened because of being cut off from her subordinate, Sigrid being a traitor also gains a bit more traction. Say Rayam can't send out more of those creatures, or won't because the risk of the same thing happening again is too severe. It could make sense that she enlists another person instead. Okay, I feel like I'm talking in circles here. I really don't know what to think about all this. So here's another possibility out of the blue. What if Sigrid is somehow connected to the Seer? The only time we've ever actually seen a Seer is at the very end of Veritas when Hagen's body finally gives out and the Seer that was inhabiting it was released. At least that's my theory as to what's happening here. I think we're supposed to assume it's his soul at first, but in an update that came out shortly after release, we were able to find out that all three of the servant characters are actually hollow bodies inhabited by Seer. So Hagen didn't have a soul that could leave his body, so what's that? Must be the Seer, right? As for what the Seer actually are, we still don't really know, but at the very least right here, one is being represented by a little ball of light, and Sigrid is said to be a light mage. This is an extremely tenuous connection at best, but I was thinking again about the idea of us having yet another light-based entity in the world building, and wondering what other possibilities there could be that already exist rather than her being something completely new, especially considering the part of the chalkboard that says a certain religion hints other origins. Although the Seer have never been mentioned to be part of or involved in any kind of religion, and again as I said it's a pretty loose connection, the idea of there being a religion based on the Seer, or perhaps even the Seer having a religion of their own, doesn't seem too far-fetched to me. But let me know what you think, and I mean it this time. Actually leave a comment saying what you think about this whole thing. And thanks for watching, I'll catch you in about another year, how about that? Oh, you probably want to know what the solution to the chalkboard actually was, don't you? Well, you may be surprised to learn, I certainly was, that it is actually binary. But you said it wasn't binary! Yeah, I know, I thought it wasn't. We all thought it wasn't. But here's the thing. Now, maybe you know more about this stuff than I do, but I think it's fairly common to think of binary like this, where each letter or number or symbol is represented by a string of 8 digits, of which each is either a 1 or a 0. And that is true, but it turns out that's not the only way to do binary. This is called 8-bit binary. The chalkboard was written using 5-bit binary. We were just using the wrong kind of binary to see what it said. Also, speaking of what it says, it should be mentioned that in true Colorgrave fashion there are a few spelling mistakes in here. Armored is actually Armgred. Sigrid is not, actually says Siorid Dusnugt. Wow, triple whammy there. Lyrian is spelled Lyian, and other up here actually says Ather, which could possibly be a misspelling of Aether rather than other, but I just took my chances on what I assumed was most likely. So, there you go. That is the mystery of the chalkboard finally solved after almost 2 years. And then, you know, plus another like 9 months on top of that for me to get around to making this video about it. Now all that remains is the mystery of what is said on the chalkboard actually means. Until next time.